Podcast 1, Jack Saunders.
BBC Sounds, music, radio, podcasts.
All right, this is the Youngblood podcast. Turn up that volume. Happy! This weekend it's Valentine's Day. So to get me in the mood, I've got my friend, my very special friend, a very sexy man, Jack Saunders, on the show. If you don't know Jack, he presents Radio 1's Indie Show and Future Artist Show. He also has a live music night called Hopscotch, supporting the best new bands. Jack was so integral to my career. I think he was one of the first people who made people understand what Youngblood was about. He made people understand that I wasn't just some rubbish Arctic Monkeys, and that I had something to say. I know that music is a passion for so many of you, and I know that a lot of you want to either make it as an artist or be in the industry or do something music related. I wanted to get Jack on to talk about how he got where he is today and what he looks for in new music, new artists, new visuals, new things that inspire him. Obviously, I'm a very, very, very naughty boy, and Jack is arguably a little bit naughtier than me, which is crazy. So there's going to be some strong language and adult content. So don't tell your parents, but here's me and Jack talking about music. So this is a bit of a change. It's the other way round for once. All right, Jack Saunders, how are you?
Let's go, Dom. This is so sick. How are you?
Brother, I'm buzzing, man. Thank you so much for coming on. I literally just had an idea that I think a lot of people want to know why and how and if and how we got together. Do you know what I'm saying? The story of the bromance of, you know what I'm saying, the rock and roll scene.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't wait to tell everyone our story from our perspective. I think a lot of people know how integral you were to my career, and to kind of bashing down the door in the UK of going, please understand what this is, because a lot of people in the beginning didn't. And it was so funny when you kind of talk about and you look at the past and see how artists and radio DJs and presenters, or everything you are, host, TV host, chat show host, everything you are, when people come up together. And we very much did come up together, didn't we, you know?
Do you want me to tell it?
Yeah, jump in, man. Jump in, starting the story.
Well, I'd just started my night called Hopscotch, and I was hosting it at a little grotty, sticky floored, sweaty basement venue, like one of the last ones in central London, at the Social, owned by Heavenly Recordings. I was doing that monthly, and some nights were great, others weren't so good, but I was just starting out, really. And I'd started to make a few relationships with these agents, and one of them was yours. And he emailed me and went, look, Jack, I've got this guy. We're just kind of struggling to kind of get him off the ground over here in the UK. I need a show. He's not going to pull it. I remember he said this in the email. He went, he's not going to pull in any tickets. He's not going to sell anything. He won't have any fans there, but we just need to get him on a stage. And so I was like, okay, well, I mean, that's the worst pitch to a promoter anyone's ever done. Like, obviously I'm going to need to sell tickets, but, you know, I listened to the music anyway. I trusted him, and he'd done me a few favours in the past in terms of Hopscotch. So I listened to the music, and I think I listened to Tim Panboy and King Charles. And I just remember thinking, like, wow, no one's doing this energy right now. No one's bringing this kind of energy. And also, as well, I felt the essence of some of my favourite bands and artists from the past. In your early initial stages, you were very raw, kind of that, but you were sort of like spitting bars at the same time. And so to me, it was kind of Jamie T-esque, but also Alex Turner, but also like hip hop at the same time. And it was I was like, wow, this is really great. I've not heard anything kind of this exciting in a while, but it was still really raw and new. So I said, screw it, we'll get him on. We put you on, and you were second on that night. Not many people came down. I think there were 10 people in the room when you performed, if that maybe. I kind of stood at the back and took it all in. And you performed on this little horrible grungy stage where the sound desk is directly behind where you perform. The drummer is in the toilet, quite literally sat in the toilet. Yeah, it's so funny. And like you're up there with your guitar, and I'm not sure if Adam was with you at that point or not. I can't remember. But
yeah, he was.
He was. Okay. So everyone was there. So Adam's up there with you as well, kind of showing the stage, and then Mikey stuck in the bog trying to play the drums, which is quite funny. But I distinctly remember watching you, and you were performing like it was Wembley. Like you didn't care there was no one in the room. You were performing like it was Wembley, like it was your last show on earth. And that to me was just incredible. To have someone come up into my night that I just started out and want to put on this kind of performance just blew my mind. And I remember we had a brief chat afterwards as well, and you were like, dude, thank you so much. You were so grateful. I remember it. You were so grateful. And I just couldn't believe you were being so grateful, because I was like, 10 people turned up, mate. Like that's my bad as a promoter. And
I think that was the thing between us, that kind of that first spark initially. Like, I'd never met someone who, in music, who'd wanted it as much as me.
Yeah.
Like, you want it, man. It's like, not in a, like, you want it. It's kind of rare. I think I'd kind of met radio DJs and met a thing. And I was literally saying, like, when I come to do an interview with you, or when we come to do something together, I get really excited, because it's like I'm just talking to my mate. And I think that when we talk about guitar music, when we talk about rock and roll music, and we talk about whatever, that comradeship was what was missing. And that's why I think it fell asleep for a little bit.
Yeah.
Because the comradeship of artist to artist, of presenters to artists, to everything that happened probably about 10, 15 years ago was slightly missing for a little bit. And I just couldn't believe I'd met someone who wanted or had a passion for rock and roll music as much as me when I met you. Now, I've got on my little sheet here a little bit of information about you that I actually didn't know. So I'm going to tell everyone about this. Uh-oh. So you started to broadcast radio at university.
Yeah. So that's literally where I started out.
And you won 7 student radio awards.
Yeah,
what?
So,
I didn't know this.
Yeah, so I was like station manager of the radio station Fly FM, and I guided us, I suppose you could maybe put it. But of course, everyone else, their talents kind of won the awards. But I kind of guided us, I suppose, in a management perspective to one of our best halls at student radio in terms of a station. So 7, and there I was, and from a personal perspective, we did amazing as a station, and I was nominated for Best Specialist, and I didn't get it. I just got nominated, and someone else on our station, or 2 other people on our station, got bronze and gold. And I remember that night being so gutted, like you were kind of describing before. I knew what I wanted to do from a very early age, so I had so much energy and passion to achieve it. And when I didn't get that, for me, that was like a huge failure. I thought it was over. I wasn't crying, but I was just I went quiet. I was disconsolate. I didn't really want anyone around me, all this kind of stuff. And then someone came up to me from our station and went, now you know what you're good at. And I was like, wait, oh my God, you're right. Because I'd been doing all these different things. I've been doing the sport, I've been doing the entertainment, I've been doing the news, I'm trying all this different stuff. And then someone came up to me and went, now you know what you're good at. Now you can push on. And I was like, oh my God, that's it. And then from that point onwards, I just immersed myself in the scene. And I started off with the music that I loved, which was rock music at the time. We had Jake Bugg in Nottingham, where I went to university. We had Dog Is Dead, who was doing really well as well, and a few other bands and artists that were really booming out of Nottingham. There was such a good alternative music scene there, and Rock City was a staple point for any band coming through and playing in the East Midlands as well. It was always Rock City. I remember seeing Foals on the Holy Fire tour and crowd surfing to the front and being right in front of Yanis's face. Little would I know that I'd be interviewing him on Radio 1 all those years later, and I still go to Foals gigs and still crowd surf, and Yanis always, and do you know what I mean? It's just an amazing full circle.
Every time I see him in my pit, every time I look down, I'm like, there's Jack. You know what I'm saying? I love that, bro, because it's like you're a part of it. You're not doing it for any other reason than you're part of it. And I think it's so funny when you have that kind of revelation and go, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I remember when I was 16, they wanted me to go on The Voice. You know what I mean? They wanted me to literally go on The Voice and flutter my eyelashes. And that feeling in your gut when you trust it and you hear it, you kind of go, I'm not going to do that because they can do that. They are so much better at that than me. I'm going to do what I'm good at. And I think if you run with it and you create something, anything brilliant is created by a little bit of pain and a lot of bit of vision. You know what I'm saying? I know it doesn't make sense, a lot of bit of vision, but that's legitimately it. And I think when you talk about kind of magic, man, I think me and you met each other at a time that was kind of bubbling with both our careers, because I remember I'd gone to America and I got signed, and then you had got a job on Radio 1 at the same time, and it was all happening. It's like when I talk about me and Lewis Capaldi, I was like, did you get signed? It's like, yeah. Following week, I got signed. He put out a song. I put out a song. Jack got on Radio 1. Jack got on Radio, and all this kind of UK scene of just reality. I think, like, you know what I'm saying? Lewis Capaldi's punk as fuck to me because he's real.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's just reality that's elevated by music and that's talked about in music. And it's like, when I send you a record that has a feature on it that is completely mental, I won't say the name, you kind of go, I love this. Because that's the exciting thing. It's like, if people tell you not to do it, do it. Because it's going to bend people's imaginations.
It's finding the common denominator in two things that appear totally opposite and like they shouldn't be together, you know? That for me is one part of why my job is so exciting and why what I do is like energizes me so much. I love the idea of picking something absolutely out of nowhere and putting it in front of people and them going, what the, like, I did not expect this to happen. I did not expect him to play that. I did not expect these two artists to collaborate together. That's the most exciting thing for me. It's all about boundary breakers. We've heard rock and roll as rock and roll in the 70s and in the 90s. You know, we've heard that, and it was an amazing moment and a movement that created what we have today. But now, in a world where we are all totally connected, we have access to everything and anything whenever we want, it's time for music to step forward and take a big step into that world and actually kind of catch up with the rest of the world. And as far as I'm concerned, you're one of the few that have managed to do it and do it convincingly as well. In fact, screw it, you're the only one that's managed to do it and do it convincingly so far.
A lot of people have called you next John Peel, and I shout that back. I know you hate that because it's like, oh my God, don't give me a
I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I just think we were in I had this question as well the other day. We exist in different times. We share the passion and the love for exactly the same thing, but we exist in different universes almost.
Yeah, I think the similarity right now, I think exactly 100%, you are completely from different places and different times and different whatevers. But what is kind of easy for people to say that? What is easy for people to lead that? Because you have a direct relationship with the artists.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I call you and ask your advice on my releases. It's not like, Jack, this is it. Will you play it on the radio? It's like, do you think this is the right move? Do you think this is the thing? Because your depth of knowledge for music is like no other presenter I've met. And the underground, you give a shit about the underground and culture. Like, the indie show went to Future Artists, and I was buzzing when that happened because you love so much music, and your depth of understanding is so massive that you can actually finally play Madison Beer next to the Arctic Monkeys, next to Ash Nico, next to me, next to Nirvana, because youth culture is different now to exactly when it was in the 90s. People aren't in boxes anymore. People's like, I like rock music, that's it, I'm gonna wear a leather jacket. I like hip-hop music, that's it, I'm gonna wear a bucket hat. It's everything together. Like, bro, I went out yesterday in a leather jacket and a bucket hat, and I blasted A$AP Rocky into Dark Side of the Moon. You know what I'm saying? Because I can.
Yeah.
And that's just exciting. There's no barriers. And when everyone in the beginning go, yeah, this ain't gonna work, I don't get it. Do you know what I mean? I love my label. Like, I remember when we went number one in the UK, Tom Marsh was like, I don't know how it happened, and that's the way it should stay. Do you know what I'm saying? That's the way it should stay. Because it's all about culture. It's all about fans first. It's all about family and creating a space where you can belong. And anybody out there, man, right now, if you're struggling and people are saying, you can't do this, this is too out of the box, this is too strange, you are too mental, you're from a place where doing your dream is not foreseeable and not attainable, bollocks to that.
I agree.
A big fat pair of
you know
bollocks
what it is?
to that.
It's like, it's genuine. A lot of it is genuine, just, I don't even know how to describe it, like genuine passion and just understanding for having a good time. I don't even know how to really describe it. Like
that's what I'm saying.
I have a great music knowledge. I do, but when I listen to music, I don't like. Let's just say it's you, for example. I don't listen to a song and go, Oh, right. Okay. So he's got. All right. So that could be mixed a little bit better. The vocals could be a bit higher. And blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't listen to it like that. I'm just like, do I want to go and get fucked up to this, or do I want to be? Do I want to be underneath a festival tent, bouncing up and down with 1,000 other people? Can I imagine myself doing that? Yes. Then it's probably a banger. So let's go and drop it on the radio. Let's make it some energy around it.
It's all about feeling. It's all about
raw.
feeling now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? It's literally all about feeling now. It's so funny when you look at, like, I was speaking to Nick Mira, who did a lot of the Juice WRLD stuff, does a lot of like Internet Money, like has that record Poppin' Lemonade and everything. Like, is literally owns the Hot 100. Nick Mira in America, and Lucid Dreams was Nick getting an MP3 and he dropped an 808 under it, and then they mixed it. There weren't even vocal stems because it's a feeling. It's a feeling in the way that when the Pistols recorded Nevermind the Bollocks, it was a feeling. It's all about, how does this make me feel? Does this amplify what I'm feeling right now? Do I want to go crazy? Do I want to come out to my parents? Do I want to harm myself, but this song is going to stop me from doing that because it resonates the only emotion and speaks to me more than anything else in my life? That's what it's about. It's about feeling, and you can't formulate that.
Look at Radiohead,
and that's
man.
what's buzzing.
Like Radiohead
man.
is such a great example of that. Like, technically one of the most astute bands out there. You know, you could probably talk to Tom York about the technicality of their music down to the minutest detail. But Radiohead is all about atmosphere and that raw energy at the end of the day. You know, 100%. They are so emotive when you listen to them. And that's why people love them, because they are emotive, because they make them feel things, because they energize them, because they are there when they are at their deepest, lowest lows. And like you said, maybe feel like they want to end their life, but they stop them from doing that. Or they are there for their most euphoric moments right at the top. If you want to go absolutely off your nut at a festival,
mental,
you can do
exactly.
it to Radiohead, you know, but you can cry your eyes out to them at exactly the same time.
Dude, it's buzzing, man, and it's just like, I don't know, I think it's so crazy to kind of look back on our journey together that's only just really getting started, and kind of go, look how much music has moved on. Like, when we met, music was pretty bad, wasn't it? Like,
well,
do you know what I mean?
Without a doubt.
It was pretty bad. But now, like, seeing things come through, what is just so magic about it is just kind of like, for the new music scene, you're so integral to it. You know what I'm saying? I think that's so sick. Like, even for me, man, I always say that I'll hail it. It was like, you and Ali Hagendorf from Spotify were the only people who got me in the beginning, hands down. And if you are out there and you are an artist, and the mainstream whatever isn't figuring you out initially, I promise you, you'll find your Jack Saunders and Ali. I promise you will. Just keep being truthful, because if it's real, it will resonate.
That's such a good point, man. And that was exactly the same for me in my career as well. You have to find your people, you know. You have to find your people, whether you're trying to be a radio presenter or an artist. Like, for me, I kept sending demos, no one would get back to me. And then eventually I found, I got into, well, it was XFM at the time, now Radio X, and I was doing Work Experience, and the afternoon presenter, Dan O'Connell there, he just took me under his wing. He was like, just send me the demos and I'll feed back to you and I'll give you, and he was just so hot on it. He was like, I can hear you can do it, but you just need some honing and stuff like that. No one would help me. He did. And, you know, it's exactly the same with you, with me, or Ali, or whatever. You know, you just need that person to find that right person who's on your level, who understands you. And that's going to take some searching. But no matter, you will have far more no's than you have yeses. That's the fact of the matter. Infinitely more no's than yeses. But every no is a step closer to the yes, is how I always 100%. Thought about it.
Literally, every knockback is like scar tissue. Right?
Yeah.
It's gonna cut you, and you're gonna bleed, and you're gonna get it down your arm, but it's gonna heal back as stronger skin. And use that and keep pushing and keep fighting. Jack, man, you're a complete legend. I love you so much. Thank you for coming on the podcast. Everyone listen to Jack all the time, man. I know you all do anyway. But he's just the best. He's my brother. He's very responsible for where I am today. I love you, brother. Give my cuddles to Cass and Winnie.
Of course,
will you please?
Of course, bro. Thank you so much for having me on. It's weird to actually call you a colleague. You're actually a work colleague, weird. Technically.
So weird, man. I'm like a hello. I'm a colleague.
If you make those weird, inappropriate comments to me, I'm going to HR. All right, let's just watch out. All right, bro. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate this, and like to you and all your fans out there. You know, you guys are always there for me and are so warm, and it's nice to be able to share this journey with you to an extent. So thank you so much.
Rock and roll star.
Legend. Let's go.
Jack Saunders, the man, the myth, the legend. What an absolute geezer of coming on. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it provided you with some insight and some laughs and some shocking moments. I hope you have a great week. I'll see you next week. Love ya. Bye.